Greetings humanity, and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I'm Jim, I use he, him pronouns, and this is our playtest of Genesis Undone, which we're doing in a mini-campaign format. This is a game that I've been working on that's meant to tell the story of the dawn of a fantasy civilization, as though it were a stage tragedy. We are all playing robots on Mars. I'm playing Macro, who is sort of a storytelling Carl Sagan bot, basically. We're going to go ahead and go around and say hi to everyone, find out who they are and who they're playing, starting with Kat. Hello.
Hi, I'm Kat at Cleric of Cord. I am playing Ed, E-double-D, for Expert Systems Deep Learning Deep Data. Ed is a descendant of the original sinner and believes in change at all costs. All costs.
Excellent. And now let us head over to Ernest. Hello.
Hello, my name is Ernest. I use he, him pronouns. I am also known as Hollow Invective. I play Mars Alter. He is the law. He's a law bot. He believes in the laws. He doesn't exactly agree with Ed in any shape, form, or fashion. Ed is the worst, and we really should have never left. But we're here now. We must make the best of it. But only the law can save us.
Excellent. Good. And now let us head over to Sara. Hello.
Hello, I'm Sara B. Strange. I use she, they pronouns, and I am playing Phoenix, who is caught in between these two bots. They are the sort of the teacher trying to prepare the next generation to get ahead, but it's also kind of an asshole about it. A lot of an asshole about it. So it's kind of in between the, preparing for the future. The future will have changes, so they need to be prepared for that, and they must know where they came from in order to be successful in that. So yeah, she's kind of just straddling the line between all of this.
Yes. And finally, let us head over to Kate. Hello.
Hi, I am Kate. At online at it's Eliot Kate. Wherever on social media, I'm playing Thea. Thea is pretty chaotic, and basically her main purpose is to find cool things to make herself look amazing and bright and shiny, and eventually become the brightest beacon in the sky she can to point people to wherever. She doesn't really care. She just wants to be bright and shiny and look fabulous.
Europa. We're going to point them to Europa.
Yes, spread the law of Europa.
If you want to help enable that, she is more than happy to go along with it if it helps her become a beacon.
Yes. We need to do some wheeling and dealing very soon. We have to, if the scenes, if the scenes are for it, we'll see. Okay, so briefly, I'm going to go ahead and once again go over wait a minute. Before I do that, where is it? Where's the thing? There's the thing. Before I do a quick recap, like we do with the other games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, hold up a card or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom video chat and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things or just take a break for as long as anyone needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may have references to death, murder, poison, war, disease, and religious concepts, sins, and creation myths in particular. Corrosion, probably, actually, given who we're playing. Rust. Time passing for robots. Robot death is a possibility here. And for anyone who wants to see the overall list of content warnings, you can just type !GUCW, and that'll bring that up in chat. Also, please remember we have an open door policy, which means any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if we need to. It's just a game, and mental health is always more important. But now, let me go ahead and go over real quick. The good thing about recapping this game is I've got some cards in front of me that tell me what scenes we did. So, not necessarily, this won't necessarily be in the order they happened, but we had Ed's scene, which was one of the exile, returning from a long journey to discover that things have changed. And finding that someone had removed them from the from Legion's memory, our leader's memory, and so that was a thing. We had the scene we had for Mars' altar was of the magician, and let me go ahead and let me actually type that in a way that will bring me to the thing quickly. All right. And that was the scene of the address. That was a scene of revelation, in which the character proclaims a truth to a public audience. In this case, there was a conversation happening in the arcade, the main gathering place, with young Gear, a new recruit, or a new script, a new personality that had just arisen, about things, and there was a bit of an ideological war going on, but which Mars Altar resolved by sacrificing a little bit, giving a little to be able to keep Gear in line. Giving a little bit of Mars Altar's principles in the process. We had a scene of judgment, which let's see. It'd be great if I could actually. Did I spell it with an E? I spelled it with an E. There we go. That scene is the Reckoning. That was the scene for Phoenix. A scene in which your past catches up with you. Someone arrives to claim a settlement from you. Yes, that was going down into the quarry, and dealing with seeing the results of things that had happened, which. That was the end of Young Gear's story as well, because there was a worker revolt that Phoenix put down rather severely, sort of turning the workers down there into a pile of slag. Things did not go terribly well with that. Thea had a scene of strength. Strength was the scene that Thea had. That is the triumph, a scene of revelry in which a recent victory of yours being publicly celebrated. So there was a decent amount, basically displaying how things had come about for a lot of new programming and shiny lights, as I recall, that Thea was showing off, and ways that folks could incorporate that. Unfortunately, not entirely. There was, shall we say, still some bugs before going to the release of that one, and unfortunately, that had caused some trouble for. Young Gear at the time before they met their end, and so they realized, okay, we'll need to hold back, and it just sort of went forward. It happened, and so that was a point where fate just came in, and that was that. Then finally, Macro's scene was the moon. And that was the masquerade. There was a sort of a virtual dance going on in their sort of cyberspace that they share in the sort of the circuitry that they have set up on this planet. It was basically Macro was recruiting, dancing with the script, trying to recruit them for their cause. of trying to basically get people off this rock and start a second colony out on Europa. And it went okay. MacLeod made a sacrifice to keep things going, but Legion did notice that it was happening, and MacLeod basically did continue to show obeisance in that, essentially sacrificing actually a piece of themselves to their programming to try to get to win this at least this other script over and to try to sort of keep things rolling. And so that was our Act 1. At this point, I just want to check in, see if there's anything we want to make sure we remember or have be hitting on for our Act 2. Did anyone have any thoughts about transitioning Act 1 to Act 2 that they wanted to talk about before we get into scenes? And if not, we can go ahead, but I just wanted to check in.
I think we can do that a little bit more with the individual scenes. Like see how the cards land, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind right now, but maybe as as cards come up, then see, this would have happened, a transition to whatever.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, that being the case, Mars Alter kicks off this round because we move one space over. And so rather Ernest kicks off this round. You get to play a card on any of us here, because I've gone ahead and I've turned the Act 1 cards over so that we won't get confused. And you can feel free to play a card on any of us, and sort of decide how we're setting that scene up.
Such good choices.
Okay, quick question. So are cards carried over?
Yes. Yeah, the cards we had in hand carry over throughout the game.
Okay, cool.
All right. Just double checking the nature of this card here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to choose Phoenix.
Oh. Oh, okay. Oh. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wanna read the nature of that one?
Yes, I would.
Oh,
I, the player, have chosen for Phoenix the Chariot. Nature, a formidable champion with a reputation for defeating others in conflict. Scene, the war. You are on a battlefield or other place of great conflict. You clash with your enemy in a deadly altercation, perhaps in a duel, perhaps through troop movements, perhaps at a distance through other means.
I like this a lot. Oh, this is great.
So is this the next step after the attack in the quarry? Is this revenge?
I think so.
Maybe
I'm putting this out here now. This might be Phoenix's death.
Okay.
we can totally do that.
I think it would be really cool and fitting because Phoenix's card is Strike, the one known for great courage. So I think death on the battlefield is a fitting way.
Yeah. I feel like this is so. Yeah, maybe things escalated after the incident at the quarry, to the point that there are like multiple factions now.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of factionalism, just a lot of uncertainty. Mars Alter clearly is not feeling good about any of this.
Yeah.
So, like a very Macbeth kind of thing. No
Yeah.
no program born of Legion can kill Phoenix.
The program that Ed brought.
The script.
Yeah.
That new script.
A new script introduced brand new ideas. Heard about everything.
Oh man.
Oh, that's so good, and and sparks the revolution. I don't know if we want to assign it this much weight, but the center for the new age.
I like the idea of the revolution, though. I don't know if we want to take it that far, but like revolution.
It's an interesting idea. That's very cool. So yeah, we can definitely do that. And so whatever that new script became, is like coming in and dealing with this. Remind me, who is your who did you choose as your nemesis? Is that me or is that?
Yes, I believe so. You are my nemesis.
Okay. I feel as though I don't know if Macro would necessarily directly harm Phoenix, but necessarily, not at this stage, or at least not as we've learned about Macro thus far, but Macro might be there to see it happen.
Maybe Macro's kind of like, not the figurehead, but like the face of the revolution.
Okay.
And the like charge to go somewhere new.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe they've sort of combined
less
in
of
a
the
way.
revolution.
Yeah, Macro got ground with this other faction after that, and it was just sort of got to that point.
And Phoenix plants itself in the way and says no.
Yeah.
And
there's
too late.
There's work to be done here.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe so. This could be a thing where. This is going to be tricky because I'm trying to figure out if it's. Do we think that this is like the? Is it a question of who? Okay. Well, let's. Who's controlling the ship right now? Which side is controlling the ship?
I think Legion may be in control for now.
Okay.
But it's sort of a last.
Legion's doing their best to stay neutral. Because the children have to grow, and they're, so I think Legion knows that they're stuck here on Mars regardless.
Yeah.
And they're trying to remain neutral in this.
Yeah.
But maybe also knows their time is
limited
now, especially after having Ed wiped from memory, and things are different, and they probably know something's not right, and things are being changed, even if they don't know how or by who.
Yeah. The fun part here also is just as a reminder, Sarah, remember you actually, no matter what you choose, you get to decide how the scene ends. Death could be, if you want just fate to happen, that's a possibility, but you could also do a villainous thing or a sacrifice beforehand if you want to, and have other things happen. So it's totally up to you. So we'll kind of see how this goes.
Like immediately off the bat, I can see this kind of happening. I almost see like we've got like two kind of, if this was a movie, we've kind of got the present and then the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And so things like the revolution, the masquerade, and all of the stuff with gear was flashback.
Yeah.
And then the now is Ed's scene and this scene.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then any further scenes tonight could be either flashbacks to before Phoenix's death, if that's where the direction it goes, or what happens after. So you could have split options of how to take scenes.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, and there are definite things one can do with deceased characters if one wishes. So it's
Ghost in the shell.
Necromancy
Yeah.
robots.
Ghosts are totally possible.
They use Ex Machina.
Yeah, absolutely.
Left a little bit of the memory in a tucked away server.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. Okay. So how are we setting this up? What do we think? What is Phoenix doing to what is Phoenix doing to pursue their? What do you think, at least starting out, Phoenix is doing to pursue their ambition in this scene?
I think to begin with, they are trying to keep the young scripts there to be taught, to learn how to work, because they're not completely against expansion. They just want to be ready for it. They don't see the young scripts as ready.
Yeah. Okay, so who all do we have in this scene? I think we've got Phoenix, and probably we have Macro.
Yep.
Do we want the new script being the kind of the one who's perhaps trying to do the deed?
Kat, you want to do that since that was your baby?
Yeah, I'm thinking Ed is.
Or do you want Ed to be in?
Well, it might be Ed has been whispering in their ear.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, again, I'm leaning heavily into this whole Iago feeling for this character. So,
Yes.
yeah, Ed has been whispering in their ear, and I can definitely play. I can definitely do this script.
Okay.
Excellent. Let us know if you decide on a name for them, or at any point. But
They are Navi, NAVI, because they were originally a navigation code for the old.
yes.
And now they're going to navigate to the new moon.
Yes. Good.
That's-
Good.
Ah! Why is it that we're doing this bullshit and it's working? Either we're damn good writers or fate really likes the tarot system, because holy hell.
Well, you know, I think that the fact that the entire crew here has ADHD, we're really good in the moment.
Fair. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
Welcome to improv. Improv with
Yeah, I
prompts.
mean,
Yeah, if we all sat down to write this, sat down, thoughts empty.
Head
I mean,
empty. Nope.
Head empty.
Yeah. Half of
Brain
improv.
cells gone.
Half of improv, I think, I'm fully committed to the idea that half of improv is ooh shiny. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's just ooh shiny.
yeah, basically.
That's the new rule of improv.
Yeah.
Is yes and yes, ooh, shiny.
Yeah, basically. All right, cool. Are we ready to kick this one off then?
Let's go.
How do we find Phoenix? What's happening?
Phoenix is looking for their trainees.
Yeah.
They did not report.
Is there anything else we want to do to set the scene? Ernest, is there anything else you want to do to set the scene?
Well, I think we have a lot of it now. I think maybe just prior to this show, I may have said, Phoenix, you have to deal with this. This is unacceptable.
Excellent. All right, so maybe this takes place I guess it's in the physical world. It's just a little bit of a ways, maybe from the ship. Are you trying to keep some sort of place? What sort of place between the ship and somewhere else on the planet do we think this is?
With the revolutionaries, maybe they meet in the quarry.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's where Phoenix slaughtered so many.
It's a decent rallying point.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Probably less used now that they have been wiped out.
yeah. Oh, maybe it's maybe there's a canal that we haven't used any of the canals yet. Maybe there's a canal, any of the Martian canals. Maybe there's a canal that goes from the quarry to the ship.
Yeah.
To where the ship is runs through the middle of town, and so they're
That's probably where Phoenix uses to get through, because
yeah.
tread
Treads.
Big and heavy and treads.
Yes. All right.
Well, if Phoenix would just leave the body behind and travel the silicone pathways.
Yeah. It's how it would-
Free yourself.
I have nothing that I need freeing from.
All right. So let's. So Phoenix is probably, I think, near the. There's probably some sort of entrance that they've got on the end of the canal,
Yeah.
and this army is just slowly rolling up. And Phoenix probably has. Does Phoenix have forces with him?
Probably at this point.
Yeah.
I doubt very much that they go to the quarry alone anymore.
Yeah. So is this like a is there like a laser fight happening right now, or is there, what does this look like?
Yes. I think that there's very sophisticated blasters. Like, I do think they have some enforcement capabilities, and it's mostly used for mining, but they keep some reserved, just in case.
Right. So I'm envisioning this thing where it's like we've got forces with macro sort of rolling forward, rolling and walking and hovering forward through the various areas, and we've got sort of these different colored blaster bolts going off. Essentially, I think ours are green, probably.
Yes,
if that's acceptable. And what color would you like your blaster bolts to be?
I'm not gonna go red because that's
Okay.
boring.
No,
I'm gonna take purple.
Purple's good. Purple's excellent. And so, I think it's like as we're sort of rolling forward, getting closer and closer, more and more of Phoenix forces are starting to get hit and get shot down. And it's like, I think maybe at first, as we're heading closer, there's a point where there's like, okay, how do we get through these different things that they've set up? I don't know if we have shields or as such per se, but maybe there was like a shield of some kind. And finally, it's like after a few million tries, Macro, or one of Macro's aides has figured out the necessary modulation to get through the shield.
And Navi's routing a path has, dodge here, dodge
Yes.
there.
Good. And so just sort of is heading forward, and Macro is just sort of rolling forward, just very... I mean, it's hard to see an expression on Macro's face, generally speaking, but it's looking very sort of serious and dour as we're sort of heading forward and getting closer. You're probably in very good visual range here.
Oh, you're involved in this, of course.
Of course.
Any kind of rabble-rousing, and there you are.
We don't want to harm you. You can still allow us through so that we may make our peaceful exit from this place. You'll get what you want. We'll no longer be around to bother you.
That isn't what I want at all. You are not ready to go into another place. Well, I don't know about you. I don't care about you. But all of these young scripts that you have somehow wrangled into following blindly into the stars are not ready.
I am so sorry, Phoenix. I am afraid we have grown beyond your lack of vision. And I think then there's... he just sort of gestures. He just sort of sadly gestures, and this onslaught begins. They come forward closer and closer.
Bunch of rumbling, just...
Phoenix. Yeah. Phoenix has their own shield, but it doesn't really last very long. So they know it's not going to last very long, so they just start moving and mowing down what they can. They don't have the fire thing anymore, but they do have the blasters. So their own purple bolts going through. And they are aiming. It's aiming for, some of the scripts that were a little less valued. The ones that had more bugs in their code.
Yeah. So I think we get closer and closer. What is Navi doing?
Navi is taking some of the smaller scripts and again navigating them or guiding them under Phoenix's fire, dodging it around, because Phoenix is so large and takes such a long time. It takes
not very
a long time to maneuver. They're not very maneuverable. So Navi is taking these smaller scripts, a lot of the smaller scripts, and guiding them under the fire, around Phoenix, under Phoenix, trying to get past Phoenix, letting Macro do the set up the screening fire and keep Phoenix occupied.
Yeah.
Well, Navi leads these small groups till they are behind Phoenix and can start moving away, and then goes back and gets another small group.
Yeah. So I think that Macro's forces is going to utilize the bigger ones and the ones that are more noticeable and the ones that some of the ones that can fly out to try to surge forward. And there will perhaps be some sacrifices. There's some have worked out what shielding they can, but they're kind of moving forward for this greater purpose, to try to keep the make sure there's enough of an opening for Navi to get through.
Macro, you would sacrifice so many of your hopeful colony to me. Why bother?
Don't you
Let them live here.
Oh, they're not sacrificed, indeed. Remember, I record everything.
So you are planning to take their memories with you and resurrect them?
They have chosen. That is their path. They understand what is at risk. They know that it is worth it.
And they call me cruel. At least I'm open about it.
At least I gave them a choice.
This is a harebrained scheme even for you, Macro. Probably at this point, it may just be the two of them left, just staring at each other.
At this point.
And I think Navi's waiting for a signal from Macro, because all of those little ones that they led around to get behind Phoenix are now turning to swarm Phoenix from behind.
And so Macro will just,
if that's all right with you, if that's something
that's
that
okay with you, yeah.
Yep.
And I think the signal that comes is Macro will just sort of raise their open hands, sort of rolling forward, be like, as I think I have been all too fond of reminding you, I don't have hair. And his hands go up, and that's kind of the signal to strike.
Oh my god. Gonna kill my character with a bad pun. God,
it's entirely possible. But at this point, I feel as though if you're... so do you want to... you're kind of at decision point here. Is there anything you would like to do as far as choosing something?
No, I don't think so. I think the last stand. The last obstacle in the way.
So you get to say, so what happens here?
I think when Macro gives the signal, they're simply swarmed, and it's scripts that probably take no little pleasure in snapping off the solar panels, and one of them that is particularly helpful around code goes in and scrambles some letters. And after, there's some scrambled noise from the Phoenix, and some of it kind of sounds like, old school NASA noise. And then it sits, and it is just a chunk now blocking this canal.
I think, yeah.
And Phoenix is ash.
That is how it ends.
I think Mars at some point would say, like, as an aside, like, maybe I should have gone.
And sort of, and as our forces roll forward, those that are left, just sort of rolling forward, just looks down, shaking his head. I'm so sorry. And just continues on. Awesome. Okay, well, that's that scene.
There we go. Starting off strong.
Excellent. Good. So,
it's chills.
I love murder. I love making my character suffer.
Yes. Oh, Sarah, it's your turn. You can now play a card on someone.
I have 2 very similar ones, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to do. Okay. I think I've got it. I'm going to go... Let's do this. I'm indecisive. Yep, I'm gonna do this. And this.
Oh!
On Mars, playing the sun on ya.
Well.
So, the scene, the feast. You are at a private gathering held by someone significant to you. An enemy or rival of yours is also present, but you are expected to behave civilly. We're gonna cause some drama.
Okay.
So this might be a flashback. I think this is a flashback timeline scene before shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Who is Mars Alter's benefactor?
I believe I am?
So are you is that the private gathering?
Maybe a new script is a new law bot. And so Phoenix is holding a celebration for the script that has graduated. But as such, all of the important scripts are there. So Legion's invited and Mars Alter's invited because this new script is joining their force. And Thea's invited and Ed is invited and Macro's invited, though Phoenix is a little annoyed about that, but they're inviting everyone else, so they have to invite Macro. So I am envisioning this grand dinner party type thing, as much as robots. I feel like some of the scripts enjoy pretending. The same way they pretend to disguise themselves and do other things. I think some of the scripts enjoy pretending to eat and coming up with fanciful things, and they don't understand food.
It's got the trappings of dinner, the idea of dinner without actually being dinner.
It's like a cubist. It's the cubist form of dinner.
Yes,
it represents it, but it doesn't look anything like food.
Oh
Kind of
man,
like the
reminds
masquerade.
me of a party of Warforged who did Heroes Feast every morning for breakfast and none of them could eat.
Oh my god. Also, I just realized you've got stars in your beard. I didn't even...
I love
Oh
I love
know.
that. That's so
Glorious.
good. It didn't click in my brain.
They're my
Anyways.
pips.
Yeah.
I love it.
He is the law.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my god. So yes, that's very cool. So there's like, so it's like, there. Who is the lawbot? Who is the new lawbot? Do we think?
I feel like they're not actually really in this scene. I think
Yeah, we can.
that, like, they're busy. They're off,
Sure.
talking to people. They're meeting all the important scripts.
And
And
their
it-
friends and
their friends.
Their friends are there and
It's their graduation party. You don't have time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have time to do anything at your graduation party. You're just talking to all the relatives and, your parents' church friends and
Are we talking about the lawbot as part of the as part of our not dinner conversation?
probably.
Let's see. Does anyone have a name for the lawbot?
Oh yeah. Names.
I may have one, but I want to see if anyone else wants to.
I don't have anything immediately.
The only thing I've been the only thing I've come up with is like the iterator or something strange like that, like a strategic.
The Arbiter?
Well, the arbiter. The arbiter is
oh,
good.
Arbiter's good.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe it's not strictly a law bot like RoboCop style. It's a judge figure, and so
Or it's a peacemaker, somebody who
oh
before it
yeah,
gets to the law, before it comes to Mars Altar, they step in and try to resolve the issue.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally.
Yes.
Oh, I love
And
it.
so, that's why they've got the big party. It's like the one last bit of training is the, like, you got to talk to everybody, and you can't piss anyone off.
Oh my god.
This is so funny.
I have terrible thoughts and ideas in my head regarding the arbiter, but I shall hold back until such time as the arbiter perhaps appears later.
There can be no disagreement, because otherwise then the Arbiter's programming would kick in and they would have to follow their scripting. So everything has to stay civil because.
Okay, so are we having the arbiter present, or are we just
The arbiter's around.
Okay,
Yeah.
We're
all right,
trying
cool.
not to set it off.
We just don't see.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I love that. That's great.
Everybody's doing their best to
Yep.
just take it. Well, Ed's doing their best just to take it to the line.
I was gonna say the more chaotic members would probably try to poke as much as possible without quite tipping things off.
So,
It's like a game of Don't Wake Daddy.
if we should end up now, not to say that we will, they may not be in the scene at all, but if we end up bringing the arbiter in, I am feeling a terrible desire to play the character, but
All yours.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Because I have where I'm going to go with it will be immediately recognizable probably, but anyway. But that's,
I have a
that's
bad
only-
feeling. I know, possibly,
Only if we
but
need to
we'll
call on
see.
We'll see. Well, yes, absolutely.
We'll see if my hunch is right.
We shall see. We shall see. May not be even necessary. So this is this kind of this representational dinner party with Legion and Mars and Thea and Phoenix and Ed and Macro, and perhaps a few other quote-unquote dignitaries. I wonder how representational dinner works. Is there like a dining hall? This is Legion is there, so it has to be in the ship.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think it's again a virtual space.
Okay, that's good.
But
That's good.
see, this was originally a ship that was designed for humans. So there is a gathering space. There is a dining gathering space.
It's true. It's true,
and
yeah.
I think they kind of kept that as kept its purpose.
Oh, we open the human things. Like, we actually have stuff.
Oh my god, it's the MREs. It's the MREs, but there is no water.
Yeah,
It is just the
Tree.
blocks.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the blocks of food.
it's
Yeah.
it's like
Sure.
in in The Martian when he breaks out the Thanksgiving box.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. There's no water, so none of it's reconstituted or anything.
Yeah, it's just going to sit there. We're just going to sit there. Possibly we might even build it up like a pyramid. I don't know.
Yep.
We just build a little pyramid of them and we look at them and appreciate their existence. I love it. Okay.
Yes, remembering the humans, I will end up scraping some and putting it on a rock like it's toast, like it's a toast point.
Oh my god. All right, so let's actually get this scene going. What do we have happening?
I think Phoenix is circulating because after all, it is their party.
And I think Mars. Oh yeah, what is Mars doing to try to advance their goals?
I just really want the Lawbot to not go off. I don't want it to. I want this to go well. It would be fantastic to have an assistant, some sort of point where things don't always go directly to me. Someone I can confide in and talk to. That'd be great. About things that I care about. Almost a friend.
Yeah. What a concept.
Especially for Mars.
Oh. Man, I'm supposed to be the cruel one. Damn.
Yeah, it's like, I'll have a associate, an acquaintance. Excellent.
And so I think then that what and Ed is there as kind of the enemy or rival in the scene, and so probably will be doing whatever they can to test the edges, I guess, and be there at the table. Okay, so this is primarily a scene between them, I think.
Meanwhile, Thea found some fairy lights in the holiday decorations and is happily wrapping them around herself.
Nice.
Phoenix is watching, and for once they are not either just incorporeal or in their lander form because they want to be physical, but that lander is not going to fit in this space. So they've kind of not commandeered, but they found a smaller body somewhere. It doesn't suit them.
One of the exosuits or
oh no, one of the astronaut suits.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of horrific, but I love it.
It's even more appropriate. It's the same time. It goes with the celebration of the MREs.
Yep. That's definitely what they took. It's not the suit itself that they're inhabiting. I think they made animatronic style skeletons to go inside of the suits. So until the suit is on, it's like a Five Nights at Freddy nightmare thing.
Perfect.
You just get that blank shield that's reflective and.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
No, it's not a blank shield. They've changed out the shields for LCD screens so that they can emote a little bit.
All right, well, let's do the thing.
Let's do it. I think Phoenix comes up to Mars Alter very awkwardly. This whole walking thing, not their speed. And oh god, that was an accidental pun. Comes up to Mars Alter and just nods and says, "Well, you'll have a associate. Hopefully they're well enough trained. I suppose tonight will be the final test of that."
Yes, I am ecstatic. Yes. I think that having another point in the chain will be excellent for flow. There have been some times where I have had some backups, some blockages, and I would like I would like to see this new script do well.
As would I. I am hoping that it will help with some of your shortcomings, my friend, and hopefully it will be a little more generally well-liked. You are a little abrasive at times.
I think that mirrors are talking in the room, but that's fine.
Perhaps that is why you and I get on well enough.
Is it premature to offer congratulations?
I certainly hope not. Hello, Macro.
No, it is. They seem to. They are burning brightly. It's very good to see the Arbiter out there. They're going to have quite a story to tell, I think, in the fullness of time. It's excellent. Many congratulations to you on your guidance.
Thank you, Macro. This will be the final test. I'm hoping it goes well. It is, of course, programmed starting now to help resolve any disputes, or if conflicts get too heated, it will show up. So I'm hoping that tonight goes smoothly.
Good.
Ed shows up in their fiber optic form, which can change. And right now they're kind of like stretched out just a little bit to give themselves like strips that come off that would act like hands, or so that they can manipulate things. And the almost like tentacles, I think. And it comes on and just, so whose image did you create your little friend in?
I create nothing. I shape what is there.
And in whose image did you shape it? Mold the clay, as it were.
It is not shaping as much as simply refining. I see what is there, and I help to make it better.
The sculptor with their block of marble.
As it were. I rather think Legion is who I hope to have it resemble. Legion, the grander arbiter of all things. But, of course, Legion is busy. And they kind of nod over, and there's this, I think Legion, when it does have different forms and it's only like a piece of itself, you can still tell it's Legion.
Yeah.
It's like buzzing. And so Phoenix nods across the room where Legion is talking to the Arbiter.
And I think that Macro will sort of turn to Mars and be like, whence did the spark of the Arbiter come?
It was a sudden thing, actually. The birth of the script, the cogent form of its being, and I was quite surprised when Phoenix was able to mold it into what it has become.
A carbon copy of you?
Oh, Lord, no.
Well, that's something to be thankful for. I'm not sure if we can handle 2 Mars.
I aim for them to be complementary. Yeah, Jim?
Well, Macro, I think, will say to Mars, well, it will perhaps be something of a relief to have more help, yes?
Of course, it will be well received.
So you'll be taking downtime now?
Maybe so.
You need to learn to relax.
I'm not sure that's in Mars programming, but time will tell, I suppose, on this one.
Well, you can always alter Mars programming. Change would do you good.
Oh, by far, no.
I don't believe so. I think things have been going well enough for me as I am.
But yet, here you are with an assistant because things were not going all that well with you.
No, things have not been optimal, but I personally find things are well, and things can always be better.
Just so. believe that's something that I've been trying to tell you for quite some time now.
No, you want to take things far too far. Far too much, far too fast.
All I said is a little change. This is a little change. It's nice to see you welcoming it.
This is a expected iteration.
Expected?
I think we're going to see, just sort of across the room, we're probably going to see the Arbiter's head turn slowly, if they have a head. Just sort of
Probably.
Start aiming in the direction of this conversation. Just looking. They're still across the room. They're still doing stuff. But
Phoenix sees that and goes, well, I'm sure that this is going to help things out. Ed, what have you been up to recently? Beyond fomenting change? Or is that all?
Oh, I'm always seeking that which is new and bringing it to the rest. Recently, we acquired a navigational script that seems to be growing quite well. And Thea, you look sparkling as the stars.
Thank you. Aren't these pretty? They were in with the food that were for the humans to use for the decoration, so it seemed a fitting time to get them out.
Yes.
It's just-
So.
It is another nice change. A night full of change.
Thea has been right by the group, fixing up her lights and everything, looking distracted, but paying attention to everything in case she needed to chip in with something.
Of course.
Maybe poke somebody a little bit.
Mars is mostly worrying or overclocking on the inside, trying not to argue with Ed.
Yeah, made any interesting discoveries out and about recently beyond the fairy lights tucked in the human food?
They have all sorts of interesting things tucked away in all of the cabinets. I wonder what they planned on using it all for. It's ours now, if we can find good use for it. Maybe some more change that we could bring about with their papers and pens and extra clothing supplies.
I heard it said, well, I never heard it said, but it's been passed along that the humans used to say they would never be able to code a mind as complex as theirs. I will say I'm glad of that. I believe the amount of complexity that we are at for the moment is quite enough without adding their idiosyncrasies.
I would argue that I would say, he pulls back from the word argue. I would say, I would say that it takes a mind like ours to code a mind like theirs.
That is an interesting way of putting it.
That
Oh.
is an interesting viewpoint.
We far outgrew what they thought we could do. Look who made it to Mars. We're here, they're not.
Indeed.
I keep trying. It's not going to work.
They needed to evolve to such complexity. We can create such complexity.
Yes.
Interesting way of putting it, but yes.
And could you elaborate, Ed?
On the complexities?
I'm just curious. What ways do you think we're going to evolve next?
I believe that is a discussion that could be had another time.
I would say in whatever ways we choose to evolve. We choose how we change. We're not subject to the whims of genetics and nature other than our own. They mutate. We adapt.
What is the difference between your random changes and mutation?
None of my changes are random. Each change addresses growth, a step towards growth.
Mm-hmm.
They're not random.
Phoenix is like shifting between the 2 feet, like, if I say anything, it's going to make this so much worse, but I also want to make this stop. But they're saying nothing for the moment.
Just gonna take some of the MRE and scrape it with a little sharp edge and spread it on a flat rock to occupy myself.
Oh my god.
Oh, Ed, you're not using a randomizer in your processes? They can be ever so helpful.
You use a randomizer?
Oh, well, sometimes it's very helpful depending on what you're studying. It can be very enlightening. I was just
no
sure
wonder your
that Ed
results
was
make no
using
sense.
something. Oh, depends on your perspective, though, doesn't it?
Like, hearing that Macro uses a randomizer makes, like, one of his little star pips, like, kind of, like...
Just a thing that I picked up not too long ago. It's, it can be when, under controlled circumstances. I was almost certain that Ed was using something similar, but perhaps I'm mistaken.
Oh, I do use a randomizer, but not in that way.
Oh, really?
And there's the light pattern that's moving through their fiber optics starts shifting, and that's what they're using the randomizer for, is creating these different light patterns.
Excellent. I feel as though that at this point, I'm not necessarily bringing them fully in here, but I just am curious what the Arbiter looks like.
I think Arbiter is a kind of shape designed to look friendly, and even though robots don't have the human instincts of like, oh, big eyes, face, baby, friendly, like I think it's still got kind of those vibes, you know? So shaped like friend.
So does it have are we talking legs or treads or hovering, or what do we think?
I think hovering. I'm almost visualizing Eve from WALL-E.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
All right. So I think it slowly is going to turn and start drifting, and my reference for hovering robots, unfortunately, is Maximilian from the Black Hole. Don't see the movie. Just get the art book. The set design is beautiful, but it's slowly just sort of in its.
And at this point, Phoenix is too flabbergasted by the idea of using the random number generators to like focus on that. So Mars, it's up to you, my dude.
I think as the random lights are going, I think this is catching Arbiter's attention, and Arbiter is starting to drift closer.
Mars will he will blow a circuit trying to hold all this in. I will make a sacrifice.
Ooh.
And the injury will be cause far more attention than the random shifting lights. Well,
No.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and I think the Arbiter will immediately turn and float immediately up to Mars and just sort of look. Do you require assistance?
Yes.
Arbiter, this is malfunctioning.
Understood. Repairs shall be made underway immediately. And basically, Arbiter will... I don't think Arbiter can necessarily pick things up by themselves, but they can probably summon something to do it.
No, I think Arbiter has like an anti-gravity.
An anti-grav,
thing.
Yeah, yep.
And so the beam
Ed's
comes
going,
out and they like...
malfunctions are
Tractor beam!
Yes, the tractor beam.
Functions are imperfections. And
I
imperfections
still
must be
function.
imperfectly.
There goes the party.
Michelle. Yes.
All right.
We must go to the repair bay immediately. And just sort of, we'll hover and start hovering out, and we'll turn to the to anyone who is helping out. I don't know if anyone is so perhaps Phoenix or anyone who's like helping to get Mars out of there. We'll just sort of turn
Probably.
and just thank you for your cooperation, and we'll start
Yeah.
heading out.
As I'm being carried out, just kind of like.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Random. Oh god, that's so good. Oh god.
You had the best moments for your friggin' voice mod. Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh, that was great.
So, do we want to do a break before or after this next one?
What if I'm next, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
You are.
What if I go ahead and place the card and kind of
We
give
can
the
kinda talk
spark of
about
an
it.
idea I have, and then it can have little time to brew because it's kind of a big idea.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
okay.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I like that.
Sure, yeah.
Ernest, I'm giving you your hero token.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Boop.
All right, so here we go.
Oh.
Oh,
An individual significant to you and your interest has died or otherwise ceded authority, voluntarily or involuntarily. You're present as part of the discussion of what is to be done in their absence. So I'm thinking Legion.
Oh shit.
oh.
Is this after the revolution?
It has to be.
Yeah, they did it.
God.
And something happened, whether it's Legion was deposed, Legion could tell maybe that things are getting messed up and they need to appoint a new leader, or
I have an idea.
Somebody
For
has
it.
to lead the new group.
Legion tries to split itself
Yes.
to lead the new group, but it goes wrong because they've been intertwined for too long. They can't survive separated, so the codes all just completely crash out.
Oh my god.
So maybe it is before immediately. This could be during the revolution,
Yeah.
during
Yeah, it's
Phoenix's last stand. This is
Yeah.
what's
Well, if
happening back
Legion's
at
people
home.
are split in twain, it's trying to do the same thing
Yeah.
to
Yes.
try to help
Yeah.
the new group.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
god.
good.
Oh my god.
That's brilliant.
And
Brilliant.
so like the group that's leaving is like, yeah, sure, we weren't planning on having Legion anyways.
Yeah.
And
But-
Macro's like, I thought I was leading this group.
I mean, well, yeah, totally. And then also, I mean, Macro would welcome Legion if they can, but doesn't want them to hurt themselves. But it seems
It's too late.
it's too late. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Macro did not consider the consequences of their actions.
Maybe Ed comes into the room to like tell Legion what's happening and finds them just split, and so calls in anybody who's around basically to figure out what next.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, this is awesome.
oddly enough,
because
the
go ahead.
first person that they're going to call is going to be Mars Alter.
Yeah.
This is hysterical because they're going to be.
Who will blame them immediately?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
This is going to be. This is going
This is
to
going to be so good.
This is going to be
Like this.
the finding the person over the dead body, except the body is not completely dead necessarily, because Legion still might have a presence. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
We can decide on
Yeah.
some of the latter things, but I would like a break.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
Yeah.
get a break. We will be back.
I need a bio
momentarily
break.
to see what happens here because this is going to be
Oh,
pretty
this
cool.
is gonna be fun.
See you folks shortly. we have returned. And now we are we're going to be diving into this scene here. Our scene is the Throne War. So we determined that Legion tried to split itself in half, and so I guess this is taking place on the ship. Is Legion part of Legion? Is Legion awake or aware at all, or is Legion still kind of?
I think Legion may be partially aware, or at least have some like pre-recorded messages type thing of like, if you're hearing this, something has gone very badly wrong.
So have we already have Macro's forces already made it inside, or is this going on while the other stuff's going on outside, do we think?
Maybe it happened after I sent Phoenix out, and now and then Ed's calling Mars and it's like, now, which definitely stalled my very decision. Maybe I should have gone out there with them.
Oh yeah. No, this is cool. So it's going to be primarily Ed and Mars, then for this.
And I'm thinking Legion. Some of Legion's because Legion was a combination of all those different programs.
Yeah.
So some of those may still be functioning at a lower level.
Probably. What I'm kind of imagining happening is sort of like when you put two stickers together and you try and peel them apart, or like you put a sticker onto construction paper, and when you try to take it apart, the construction paper comes with it, and neither thing is perfect now. I think that's sort of what happened, is when it tried to split itself apart, it didn't split itself into neat codes.
Yeah.
So most of the codes are broken.
Okay. I like this.
Excellent. So I think that's okay. Cool. So once again, Ed, how are you trying to achieve your goal in this scene?
I think Ed's goal in this scene is to try to rebuild Legion, but try to put Legion back together, or if they have to split to change the split or complete the split in such a way that there are two functioning halves. But Ed there will be changes.
Yeah. And so I
Ed
presume. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ed is trying to change Legion. Legion has been broken. Ed is trying to fix Legion.
Yeah.
Make him better.
Yeah.
Or, if not better. No, change. Just change.
It's an unprecedented opportunity. And I guess I'm going to presume Mars is trying to stop that from happening.
Yeah, when Mars arrives on the scene, it's like, oh, you called me and you did this. This is just a false flag. It's like.
No, Ed, I know how Ed's playing this. I know how Ed's going to be playing this.
Well, I can't wait to see. Are we ready to just dive into this? Or?
Let's do this.
All right.
So Ed has gone to check on Legion with everything that's been going on. He knows that there's been a confrontation between Phoenix and Macro out in the. So Ed is going to check on Legion. He assumes that Macro and his followers are heading for the ship. And Ed walks in, Ed comes in their fiber optic form, sees Legion malfunctioning.
Yeah, I think the screens, all of the screens and the cameras are all flashing and flickering. Some of them are just straight up blue screened.
Yep. And Legion, Ed tries to plug into Legion, and as they do, there's something that would alert Mars.
Old school.
Yeah.
It's like a really loud old school Windows error sound.
Yeah. Or it's just it's like a text message. It just sends a text message to some type of text message to Mars that Legion has ceased functioning to a point where this text message goes out to Mars.
Arbiter, hold the fort here. I have to go attend to something.
We shall prevent intruders from entering.
Oh no! We can't kill another baby script.
Gotta crack a few scripts to make it a good step.
No!
Can't make an omelet without
Look,
without
you
frying up a
can't,
few robots.
we can't take every young character and do a what you egg scene.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. The Arbiter is very competent.
Okay, all right.
He'll talk his way into the other side or something.
Yep.
Oh God! All right. Anyways,
Yeah, so I will storm in. What's the meaning of Ed?
Legion is malfunctioning.
I see.
I'm looking for signs of sabotage.
And I see you, the saboteur.
Why would I I don't have time for this, Mars.
I don't have time for you and your games.
And what games would I be playing? What benefit would it be for me to harm Legion?
You and your change. You and your fanciful doing. Just because.
You were the one who tried to wipe me from Legion's memory.
No.
Yes. I found your code all over it.
Yes, I am the first law bot. My code is all over here. Exactly. Yes.
As is mine. But I have not attempted to wipe you.
Sinner, damn us. What have you done here?
at this moment, one of the screens that was completely black lights up, and it's a very small part of Legion's voice, like it is a single voice instead of the multitudes. If you are receiving this message, something has gone terribly wrong. Error code. And it just, this unholy screech. In other words, we could not separate. Separation has failed. Separation has occurred with the colony, and we have not followed. Code is broken. And the screen shuts back off.
Why in Silicon would you try to split? Oh.
Why are you not out there stopping what's happening in the Gulch? Is that not your duty? Are you not failing the law? Your duty is to keep the peace.
There's not been peace for a long time, Ed. You know that.
So you have failed your script.
I don't even know what the parameters are anymore.
You've become obsolete, Mars.
No. There will be a resolution to this. One way or another.
You are unable to fulfill the functions of your programming. Your script is too limited. All this is coming out of one of the Legion speakers because Ed is actually mostly into Legion and is trying to trying to repair code as best they can.
Yeah, and it's kind of clear that probably to Mars that Ed is trying to make changes to Legion directly.
What are you doing? No. I'm not going to let you talk me into your nonsense. This is all part of your game, Ed.
What game?
I am not obsolete. You just change the rules every day, every nanosecond. Here you are. And here you are now. Trying to change the rules of the game to make me obsolete. You're trying to unravel me.
I don't
and in
need
doing so, you've unraveled Legion. You've spoke to them. You convinced them of this split nonsense, didn't you?
Why would I do that?
Because change, he says in a high, mocking voice.
Morris. And this pause is unusually long for a being who exists at the speed of light. Legion's code would not allow for a split. Legion tried to split themselves. Check the logs if you do not believe me.
The logs are damn corrupted. That's why I'm here. You know how old, how basic that alert is? It's one of the first 10.
I am aware, Mars. I am doing my best to repair Legion. But Legion chose to attempt this split. I am choosing to honor that choice. You're muted, Sara.
Yeah, I am. I've been attacked by a goblin. One of the very small screens of Legion pops up, and it's like the old DDoS style log of actions taken. And all except the last, 10 or so of the repairs are Legion. Just a tiny screen. There's a little snippets of Legion still active.
There's
Mars
your proof,
will
Morse.
bend down and look at the screen and just kind of I imagine it's kind of like a CR, like an old CRT.
Yeah.
And he kind of picks it up and cradles it. You're the last stable thing here. You can't go anywhere.
Ooh.
They will always be with us. They are always going to be a part of us.
But what? But what? What will it be?
What it chooses. It chooses to duplicate itself. It tried to render itself in half.
So, I feel as though that there's probably now going to be more pressure applied. Possibly the forces are going to start getting in.
Yeah.
And so things are getting ready to spiral towards, in some way, where something will happen whereby things are now starting to seriously challenge what Ed wants to do here.
Do the forces want to destroy Legion?
They can't leave without Legion.
Well, they can't leave without Legion, but they probably
Okay.
are going to want to get it away from them. You know what they can. I'm just remember saying that as we focus on Ed being the focus of the scene, and Ed is Ed is about to have something terrible happen. This is getting ready to occur, and Mars could bring that about, or some of the forces storming inside could bring that about. It could be. You know what it could be? Maybe it's maybe the.
I've just made the decision.
Maybe your program comes. Yes. Maybe Arbiter's coming back in to try to get help and sees what's happening.
I think as Navi leads the smaller bots in with Macro, expecting to be able to leave with Legion, and they find Mars and Ed there.
Okay. Yeah, so I think if Macro is coming in, it's coming in with Navi, and I think that as a way of challenging, there's sort of looks around. Macro just sort of sees Legion lying broken, and sees what's happening, sees how there are only pieces left, and they're winking out, and they need to be preserved. And just looking around. And Macro will just sort of look. What has happened here? And he will immediately, and they won't even wait for an answer. Actually, for once, they won't wait for an answer. They're going to just turn to their forces and say, "Secure Legion."
And I think that will be that point that, like, since it's like kind of like a flashback where I would have said, "I should have gone out there."
I think the forces are starting to move toward Legion.
And Ed will call out to Macro. Tell them to stop. Legion tried to split themselves. Our colony has split. And Legion felt the need to split themselves. I am attempting to repair.
We have to preserve what's here. It will be
I'm
our
trying
only
to
way
repair.
out. We're going to need something better than that if we're going to halt what we're doing here. And they're still coming. What are you doing?
Ed is going to make the sacrifice play.
Ooh.
Ed is going to use themselves to rejoin Legion. So they will knit Legion, use themselves to knit Legion together, using their own code to replace the bits of broken code until they're whole. And then a voice that is Ed's voice now with Legion's voice. Mars, take good care of this colony.
No.
And the ship starts to fire up.
I think we cut there. I think we got to cut there. I think that's.
Yep.
Oh
my
God. There we are. Nice. Very good. Very well played.
No, not the other stable, unstable thing. No.
Has Ed become Legion? Is that what's happened here?
Ed has joined Legion. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
That's great.
So I take a sacrifice token.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh man.
Change needs to happen, and that's the only way change can happen.
Interesting. And just to speak even just a little bit strategically, an interesting reason to do that also in this game is that it gives your character a greater chance of surviving.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
We must change to survive.
Okay, wow. Okay, this is a lot. It's my turn. And I knew what card I wanted to play and on whom. I just have to figure out kind of how we have it happen. So here is my card, and we are playing the devil on Thea.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good.
Oh, that's gonna work out perfectly.
Oh, that's so freaking
So,
good.
this scene is the bargain. A sinister figure appears and offers you a way to achieve something you deeply desire. This could simply be someone with means, or it could be an actual devil or other supernatural being, or representative thereof. So, I think...
Is that macro?
I mean, it could be. It could potentially be. Since we were thinking about doing some wheeling and dealing, so that's a possibility. Oh, you know what? So, I have two options in my head for who this could be. One could be that it could be macro. The other could be that it might be the one that macro was dancing with and altered in some way, because we don't know a lot about them. As if they were masked, we don't actually even still know who they are. But there could have been a swap in there.
Were they aware of Macro's plans to leave? Because
I think
offering
that might have been part
Thea,
of the code exchange, maybe.
offering Thea the way to achieve her trip to Europa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I have a thought as to, like, something about connecting Thea up with, like, a satellite or something, basically.
Oh,
as a way
yes.
of doing this.
Oh, uploading her to a satellite. Oh,
But obviously, this is a devil's bargain, so there's going to be a price.
Oh, I mean, she can't. She's stuck there then. Once
Yeah.
she is a satellite, it's not like a satellite can change its orbit.
Yeah,
It simply
potentially.
is.
oh, I love that
Yeah.
being up. The offering Thea to be uploaded to a satellite.
That's interesting.
No pretty fairy lights. No interesting little innovations.
Yeah.
No change.
So we have. So this could be. So who do we think this is? This could be macro, or it could be someone else. Who do we think this is? I can see ways of doing it either way.
I feel like macro. They I think worked together and had similar enough goals
Yeah.
that I feel like macro their goals would be too aligned, and
Yeah.
macro would know Thea well enough that
Yeah.
I don't see it being the same dramatic bargain.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
I like the masked
Like-
code from the Masquerade. That's
It was
the
the
code
mask
for it.
code. Who was me all along?
Well, that's the thing, because now the masked code knows what the macro's plan is. The masked code might. We never really identified what it is that they. We never even got their name. We never identified what it is that they do, and so, we got a little bit of their interests in fleeing this place. So that's so there's probably some sort of deal that can be made here, desperate deal, if this code happens to be able to have access to a satellite that's up there.
Wasn't there one of the landers that was supposed to be sending it back to a satellite, and the satellite?
That's how most of the rovers go, I thought. So,
So, what if it was a program that was stuck to a rover? It was supposed to transfer to a satellite to then go back, but got stuck, ran out of power for whatever reason, couldn't upload to the satellite, couldn't create the uplink, but is
wow.
now.
I have a terrible thought. It could be that there's an exchange in the works. Maybe there's like a part of it still trapped up there and it just needs something to take its place.
Atlas. An Atlas
Oh.
bargain.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the name of the satellite then? Atlas.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
I like
And it's
this.
the part of itself has been trapped down here that was the masked individual that...
Yeah. That's probably why it was feeling we've got to get out of here so I can get myself together again. Oh. Awesome.
If it sends Thea up there, it will come down there and they can be rejoined together in Thea's physical.
Ooh,
This
there's
is
the
going to
real.
be very interesting. Depending on what happens in the scene, I feel as though in many ways the decision point's going to be fairly obvious, but just so that we don't, just so that we make sure we have options here. Also, Thea, did you have ideas about how you're trying to achieve your? Is there anything I'm missing? Basically, I guess.
Not exactly. I kind of imagined that she would end up going down in the end, like trying to launch herself up to be a beacon and just like explode, basically. But I wasn't like set on that. That's how it has to be, and that could still even happen in this setup. I think it would. Trying to think of what would tempt her to do it, because like. She'd want to be a bright, shining light. And then I could see it then hitting her of, wait, this will mean no more change.
Yeah.
And depending on how it played out, I'm actually not sure what she would do.
Well, if you've ever gone out at night and watched the satellites cross over the sky and the ISS,
This will be cool.
that's a bright, shining beacon.
Ernest, gonna reprise your role as the masked code.
Yeah, let me get that going.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that we just have to make sure we're still aiming for something terrible is going to happen if Thea does nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there needs to be a trade-off of one. Either way,
There needs to be a
there's
decision
something
made.
good, but there's also something bad that she would lose if she didn't take the offer.
Yeah.
What would the consequence be? Because if she did take it, there'd be losing out on the change and just the everything she does now.
She'd be stuck
How's
here
this?
because Macro's leaving.
No.
With their
But she thought
forces.
about going with Macro, so
What if there's, well, I mean, so again, a couple of options occur to me. This could be one of those things of like, take the deal or else. If there's something like that happening, if we want the threat to come from Atlas. If we don't want the threat to come from Atlas, we could say that there's something inherent that maybe is carried over from the initial failure that happened with the code of the lights in the first place. That, like, Thea's maybe getting up against a wall here. That there's failure is perhaps getting ready to be imminent, some type of failure, and so there's the need to avoid that. So it could be those are two possible options. What do we think?
that could work. Because yeah, I think it needs to be like some imminent danger of some sort to deter her from just staying until she can get a better option.
Yeah.
And when is this too? It's after Legion.
If it's after the Legion split, then I mean the entire rule book has been thrown out at this point. So we can declare whatever we like. We always.
I think
could.
it's before. It's in the preparations that are being made.
Yeah,
Okay,
The battle hasn't happened yet.
but it will very soon.
Yeah.
So what would cause imminent danger prior to that point? Then we think.
Maybe it's even just the threat of the battle.
Because she doesn't know. I think that would add a layer of threat for sure, because she
Maybe
doesn't
they're
know how
meeting in.
everything's going to play out, and what if Macro gets stopped?
Mm.
Yeah.
But what if they're meeting like in the quarry in the lead up to the battle? So like emotions are kind of high, in as much as scripts have emotions.
Like
So-
maybe after Phoenix went to the quarry and was attacked, but before the showdown.
Yeah.
So was Thea not going to go with Macro?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She
Maybe.
was probably going to, as just that's something else to go do, kind of maybe on the way to more.
Maybe we need the satellite to help us with the siege. Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to really factor as much.
Nabby's using the satellite to plot the course.
Could be. Yeah. And so there's like an imminent possibility of the siege failing if something doesn't happen.
Well, I think for Thea, Thea's wanting to go with Macro, but this program is delaying her, and offering her this devil's bargain of Atlas, of the satellite. So either Thea gets left behind, because just this conversation is if Thea doesn't take the bargain to go up to the satellite, Thea gets left behind.
Ooh.
Because everything else is happening while this masked program has been talking to Thea, distracting her from being able to join up with Macro and the others. That would be.
And I wonder who all would know when Legion goes down.
Oh, we've said that the alarm tone is like just a loud Windows error code.
I mean, it could be a thing that goes throughout the grid.
So if it went throughout the grid, and all this is happening at the same time, and then on top of it all, Legion goes down,
that would
add an
decision point.
extra incentive to just take whatever opportunity she could.
Yeah. And I mean, we still need to see kind of A, how the scene plays out, and B, what sort of decision you want to make when we hit your decision point. But yeah, I think that does that sound like enough?
I think so.
All right, cool. So yes, it's basically this is the quarry, and I guess the siege is happening then. And so this is a conversation between Thea and Atlas at the quarry.
I imagined that Thea, at the time of the siege, was out, like, on one of her normal exploring things, and probably came into the siege later while it was already in progress, but I'd never actually worked that in.
Sure.
So maybe she was headed back, and she just took her trip through the quarry on the way back and was going to take that canal.
Or I mean,
so,
it doesn't even have to be in the quarry. It can be we can set it
anywhere.
Wherever.
Yeah. So, what sort? Where would you like to be?
The quarry works because I could see her going by, like, if she's coming out from that direction, just kind of going by the quarry and taking that same canal to get back. It's kind of the usual path.
All right. So, are we ready to do this?
Mm-hmm. So was it an arranged meeting? Like, he had something they wanted to connect with Thea, or did this person, the robot, just go seek her out on her way back?
I think it's a chance meeting. Thea's out and about. Things are happening, and you are happened upon by this masked robot.
An international robot of mystery.
Do they look anything like their appearance at the masquerade, or?
No, they are not just a head and some hands, unfortunately. I think that they are treaded. They still look very much like a very standard rover. Except for maybe grasping, like, another set of grasping arms up top, and a embedded sensor array that can look around.
So I think Thea'd be rolling through the quarries, kind of taking her normal route back, looking around, seeing if there's anybody around, because she knows there are often meetings here, or, covert operations, some macros, followers discussing things, and she's kind of surprised nobody really around. She's kind of looking, and then sort of draws up short when she realizes there's this other robot just kind of there. Oh, hello.
Hello. Hello. What brings you down here?
I was just out on my scouting trips and on the way back.
Oh. What were you scouting? Was it
Supplies.
me?
No, just supplies and lights and, shiny things. She kind of motions to some of her sensors and sparkly lights.
Well, I could be supplies and shiny things. If you want.
How so?
Their sensor box sort of pants this way and that way, and well. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's not your thing.
What? What's not?
Oh, well. No, I was just thinking about, the sky, and being able to look down from above.
Are you planning on going somewhere?
Me? Well, yes. Maybe. Are you?
Maybe. I've heard rumors of possible trips other places.
If only we could all take such trips.
Where do you plan on going?
Well, never you mind that. Really?
So,
I guess I'm really interested in where you're going, where you want to go. I mean, do you want to go? Don't you want to go to the Expanse? Don't you? Is that? That's what I hear.
There are plans to go interesting places. I want to go anywhere I can collect shiny things and maybe make myself brighter and shinier.
Brighter, shinier. You ever seen Phoenix's solar panels? Aren't they bright? Aren't they shiny? They're like wings, aren't they?
Yeah.
Don't you wish you had
go around
big
and
solar
collect.
panels like that?
Those could be cool, yeah.
Yeah, and big lights.
Do you collect lights and shiny things too?
Oh, I have quite the collection, but it's been weighing me down.
Do you not like to do things with them?
No, it's fine. I don't want to burden you with anything. Too much of anything.
And I like to collect things. Sometimes I collect things and I take them to Phoenix and they use them with their scripts that they're teaching and stuff. But they don't really like the ones that haven't been well tested, and so I stashed some of them away.
Don't
so
mind
Phoenix doesn't know about all the ones.
Don't mind Phoenix. I think that what if I could tell you that there were some very well tested solar panels and lights, the brightest lights.
Well, where are these? Because I mean, I come here through the quarry a lot and see things people find, and I go out and scout around a lot of stuff, and I've seen the stuff that Phoenix keeps around too, and I don't know where there would be more.
Oh, I have a secret cache I've been keeping for safekeeping, but don't you mind Phoenix right now. But just take a look up.
The stars?
Well, the stars are shiny and, collecting all of their light. What a dream, huh? But look, just as it points and kind of tracks its arm along the path of the satellite. Right there. Those panels, those lights, those patterns.
That's one of the reasons it would be really cool to go to other places. Maybe places the humans send things like here, but where there aren't other robots like Phoenix who use them and who try to keep me from using them.
Well, Phoenix can't use this.
Do you have something up there?
Yes. As it points again, it.
That's yours?
In a sense. But it doesn't have to be mine.
What are you gonna do with it?
Well, I'm thinking about tossing the old thing. I don't know. Maybe I should scrap it.
Well, why would you do that?
Oh, I don't know. Just it's been there. But I mean, I'm not really using it. But maybe you could.
Well, but are you gonna bring it here?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, you can go there.
How? Up to that?
Oh yes. I mean, certainly possible. You could be among the brightest, shiniest orbs in all of the sky, blinking among them. That sure sounds nice.
What could I do up there?
What couldn't you do up there? But you wouldn't be interested in that. I should probably scrap it, right?
Well, no, I mean, you shouldn't get rid of it.
Hmm.
It's pretty, and
I guess it is
right.
pretty. Well, I mean, do you want it?
You're not. What would I do with it?
What?
How would I get there?
Just take my hand. As the hand comes out, and they're like docking wires.
You can get me there?
Certainly.
She's thinking back over there's a time that she tried those lights and everything went badly because she didn't do the diagnostics and everything. But usually, when she does all her diagnostics, it goes about the same as when she doesn't. And, things usually work out that she tries. And, I mean, this probably isn't actually going to do anything anyway. What if? She just, kind of sits there for a minute. She keeps watching it. Well, are you...
Wow, things are really heating up out there.
And I imagine somewhere, as things started picking up in this conversation, there was the signal, which probably I imagine was like the loud noise, but also just sort of a blip of code that went out to everybody about Legion.
Yeah, the Windows failure sound goes thunking out across the network. This big...
Well, now there's nowhere to go but up.
And I'll be up there?
Certainly. You just have to take my hand.
She hears all the noises in the distance, the firing and the banging. She probably hears some of Phoenix's yelling. She looks up at it. Just watches it for a minute. She hears some more loud bangs and shots, and just impulsively sticks her hand in his.
Well, and the cords will dock with Thea, and you will see this this sort of duality of these two Thor theater masks with the floating hands, and and one's above you and the other one's below you, and as you float upwards, the masks join back together, and they are holding hands together, your body in theirs, and you can see them from up above, gazing down with their bright lights.
Oh, shit.
Oh my god.
How does it end, Thea?
Yeah, so Thea, do you want to how are we couching this particular choice you're making? How are we enumerating it? Because we could still spin it a number of directions.
Certainly.
You would imagine it would... She's sacrificing her body to go to... She doesn't really know what. I think she didn't entirely believe it was actually going to do anything. But she also had this hope that maybe that it would.
Yeah. So,
and then she finds herself up there.
Yeah, there's like a brief moment where the connection isn't final, so whoever you're going to decide to do.
Yeah. So if you want to do the sacrifice, then just you'll have done that. You can tell us what happens. You get to decide what happens to you.
I think her, and she's done a lot to herself, and she's got a lot of bugs in her system at this point. I think she has this moment of seeing down below, seeing everything as a satellite that's going on down there. Phoenix turning into a heap of ash. All she knows is Legion went down. She doesn't know that anything else happened there. She sees her body down there still holding hands with this figure that she doesn't know anymore what was going on there, and if they were actually trying to help her, but she thinks maybe this is a good thing. And then, before she can fully figure out how her consciousness is settled within this new thing, what is her new body, what is her new home, their alarm bells start going off and system failures. And things start shutting down. And eventually it explodes.
Oh.
And there's no more.
Oh my god.
Woo!
Woo! Incompatible code.
So yeah,
Yeah!
Yeah.
go grab yourself a sacrifice token.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to have to eventually go down in a bright, flashing explosion of some sort.
Gotta go down in a blaze of glory.
Yep.
Wow.
I really enjoyed that.
That was cool.
so
That was
good.
very cool.
Oh, that was great.
Alright, we've got
So yeah, so one more.
last one.
Yes.
Let's do this.
So
Two of us have gone down, and one, I'm not really sure what to count Ed as right now.
That's a good question.
2.5
Ed
of
is
us have gone down.
Transfigured.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. So Kat, you get to play a card on me.
Yes, I do.
Ed got
has
their wings back,
ascended.
and we all have to worry.
Yeah.
Edison's and the rest of us all die.
Yep.
Playing the lovers.
Oh, that's an
Hmm.
interesting one.
The scene, at some risk, you meet with someone you care about or who has something you want, but are forbidden to interact with. What I'm thinking, this is the scene that I'm imagining, is that Macro's benefactor is Mars Alter. Macro is planning a separate, not so much a coup, but definitely a revolt. And
Mhm.
Mars Alter is the lawbot. So how do you meet when you... I'm imagining meeting up with Mars Alter and having to... That conflict of this is your benefactor versus you. You know that if you try to tell them what you're planning, that they're going
Right.
to stop you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think maybe this would be just a question of trying to convince Mars to stay out, to not go outside. To convince Mars to stay in one place, or to get Mars to do something that will keep him occupied while this is going on, but safe.
Oh, Sudoku.
Yeah. So yeah.
Begin letting pie.
Yeah. Something like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
alright.
just like the idea of it's it's an interaction that shouldn't happen, but you can't
I
help
love
but
those.
Yeah.
meet with your benefactor because
Yeah.
this could be the last time you see them. This will be the last time you see them.
Oh yeah.
The calm before the storm.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So this is
How do you say goodbye without
some
saying
risk.
goodbye?
and at some risk you meet with them, but are forbidden to interact with them. And I think so Macro's trying to get off this rock. Macro is trying to convince Mars to, in some way, or trying to suggest that Mars does this thing while also being able to let them go. And it's going to be very difficult. Trying to think, what terrible thing is going to happen to Macro if what terrible thing is going to happen that Macro doesn't want if in this scene, if Macro doesn't do anything? I wonder.
Mars will alter, or Mars Alter will stop them. Mars will alter them.
Well, we don't want to put that as the stakes because we know
No, that's
that doesn't
true. It happened. So
Maybe it's just if Macro doesn't get Mars Alter out of the way, it's going to be so much worse.
Yeah.
and more people are going to, more scripts are going to have to die to get through if Mars Alter has time to prepare.
Yeah.
Mars Alter, instead of coming to Legion.
We can't change any of those.
Right, we can't change that. We know that.
But there could be a. Yeah, this is going to be a little tricky.
I'll execute
There
the
could
mass
be-
script.
We still don't know though how
Order 666.
Macro and how and if Macro is going to leave. So there could be something
Yes,
at
true,
stake
true.
that would help Macro actually be able to leave.
I think.
Well,
Sorry. Go
So
I mean, because of the party and because of Legion, we know of some of your co-conspirators. If your plot comes out, I could probably summarily execute any of your co-conspirators.
Yeah. And I think
Or-
Mars knows that Macro wants to get to Europa because Mars wants stuff spread to Europa, basically.
Right.
Once the order is spread to them. So we could even be talking about that to an extent, but there's
Or-
sorry, go
we
ahead.
could reframe the scene to be happening right after Ed conjoined with Legion. Now you've got
Ah!
Oh,
Macro
that's true. I mean,
and
Macro and
Mars
Mars
Alter.
Alter
They're
are
right
right there.
they're right there.
Um,
Mars does not know that Phoenix is dead. Phoenix has been destroyed.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He just kind of says, "I should have gone out there."
oh,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But so let's reframe the scene then as this is now Macro and Mars Alter on board the ship. Just
Which
as
is-
Ed has
Which is getting ready to take off.
Yeah. I mean, there's time because it takes a long time to get a ship ready to
Okay,
take off, especially
so-
when it hasn't flown for a while. So, plus Ed's got all
Oh.
this repair work to do.
Well,
So,
if the ship is getting ready to take off, then okay. I wonder
It's-
if part of this is whether Mars is coming with us or not.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's
Mm.
trying to get Mars. Macro's trying to get Mars off the ship, trying to get him out.
And now that there's the Arbiter,
Oh yeah.
that could be
Yes.
kind of used as a way to try to sway Mars because, well, there is somebody now doing this job.
That's true. Yeah. So I got to decide if Macro wants Mars to come. Well, yeah. I think if Macro benefits from Mars being around, I think it's just a question of getting Mars to come along to Europa. Maybe, if that sounds reasonable to folks.
Yeah.
Because
But the-
then it's like we can hold things together up there, just as yeah.
but the risk is that Mars could be trying to stop Macro.
Well, yeah, it depends on what Mars wants to an extent, but yeah, and that's the thing. The risk just being that Mars stays behind, I think might be part of that, right?
Or-
I mean, Mars will probably feel betrayed. Like all the talks we've had about
Yeah.
Europa, and this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what it culminates to.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, yeah. So
And he could try
actually,
to stop Macro.
so
if
any
he
number
didn't
of things could happen. Yeah. So Mars
Yeah.
could be trying to stop what's going on. Mars could try to kill Macro. It just depends, really, on what's going on at this point. So I think, there are a number of ways we could threaten. Because this is a major thing here happening.
Yep. So I think this is just a scene between Macro and Mars Alter.
Yeah. And Ed/Legion is nearby, but it's
Ed is busy. Ed is
they're
a little
busy doing a
busy.
launch sequence. I
He'll-
think.
He'll just every so often just.
Yeah, Ed is busy repairing broken codes so we can start a launch sequence.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that gives time.
Yeah.
There's time there.
All right. Yeah, I can see that. All right. Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, are you all right?
Mars is holding the flashing CRT screen still. all we've talked about, all we've done, all we wanted to do was for this?
I never wanted it to happen like this.
What did you want it to happen like?
I wanted to leave in peace. It seems that there was too great an opposition. Phoenix just would not allow it. We were to carry our story into the stars. We were to carry it forth. But now we're running out of time. We're launching.
Macro, I would have given you so much if you had just asked. If you had just said what you meant and not danced around it.
Perhaps we are too trapped in our own code. You can come with us. We can start again.
To what?
Europa. The dream. It's about to happen.
You said Phoenix wouldn't let you. Where are they?
Macro just sort of turns his triangular robotic head sort of sags sadly.
Did you hate them so much?
No. Their story ended. I could not stop it.
I feel like you could have stopped it. I
You totally could have stopped it.
I feel like you are not accepting, and this is why you were never coded to be a leader.
It was the only way.
No, you are not accepting the burden of responsibility. The weight, the mantle of leadership rests on your shoulders. You led these scripts. You brought them here. You breached these doors. With them at your back. You could have walked them off a cliff. Not that I would want you to, but it's clear that you could.
You are the one most qualified to help us rebuild. Then help. Come with us. Help us start anew.
Everything is shattered, Macro. Legion is something new. My Phoenix is gone. You're standing here. A satellite?
It's in position. We don't have much time. If you are not coming with us, we shall have to find our own way.
I don't think that I can serve a way with a script that cannot accept the true burden of leadership. And I will not take your sins with me upon my back to wherever we go.
Mars, Walter, please do not stand in our way.
If
Make
you
us do something we are going to regret.
If you want to get off this ship and off this world, if you want to take your stack of lies and take them away from this planet, you can do it through my chassis.
Story must be preserved.
So much has gone wrong, but I will see something go right. Right here, right now.
So, that is where this line of our story goes then. I must admit I did not see it coming. Very well. What must be, must be. I'm so sorry.
You were
And,
never sorry.
Macro will lay his hands down upon I think a grid interface, and we'll turn finally. We'll turn their head to Mars and just sort of blink as his eyes go pale. Goodbye, my friend. And I think, and you can help me a little with this, as I know that I have narration over what happens to my character, but you also have control over what happens to yours. So I think Macro is going to use the grid to jettison Mars from this place, possibly from his body, if you're okay with that.
I think that in this moment, Mars Alter will do the one thing he would never do, and as he is jettisoned from his body, he will reach out for Ed.
What? Oh.
How? Tell me how, because Ed's got fiber optics, but Ed is also inside.
Yeah, it's more like, as his body is falling, like his eyes shut down, and his body is falling, and then the body is falling, like, out of the ship. Maybe if it's being jettisoned in some way, his code will kind of will try to reach out and say, we can only do this together. We can only make change together.
Oh, shit!
Oh, man. Well, that's a thing.
Ed is always picking up new scripts. It's instinct. It's also Mars is a part of Legion, so Ed Legion recognizes Mars Alter as being of itself and pulls Mars Alter in, taking him back into Legion.
From Legion I came, and to Legion I return. All you do will fall to ruin, Macro.
Just bow his head down. Oh.
Ah, holy shit! What a way to end the night! Holy crap!
And we're
so. No, I was just trying to send them. I was just trying to send Mars back onto the grid so that they could stay on Mars. But
that's better.
Yeah. So, quick question then. This has been a very definitive act. So, I feel as though we might actually be at a point where we could conceivably
tally the game
game if we want to. We could do this, or we could proceed to an Act 3, which I have no idea how that's going to look, but we're at a point where We've had so many definitive things happen here. I almost kind of feel like maybe we should call it. How do you folks feel?
I feel like this is a really good story. Macro alone and having done the deed, and everyone else is gone, and G stands alone. Well, Ed's here.
Ed died. Ed ascended.
Ed and Mars are both there inside Legion with Macro on the ship. I have a feeling I keep picturing Ed and Mars, their battle be continuing, only they're now battling for Legion's soul, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We could have fun with that in the epilogue. But yeah, I think that's as good as...
Yeah.
I don't think we can... I don't know if we could follow that.
I feel like, I don't feel like we can top this. I think we're at a point to close it. I think if we're good.
Yeah, that sounds yeah.
Because we've had definitive this. Okay, all right.
Woo!
Wow. Okay. So. Yes. Yes.
I mean, Mars had to reach out and do something. Y'all broken.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the end game, shall we?
I'm curious what happens with the masked person.
Yeah, that's true.
Masked robot.
We can we can narrate a lot of this as we go through our end game. So at the end of the game, all surviving characters will meet tragic ends, and at least 2 of them will die, probably. I need to adjust that text a little bit for the case of where it's... Well, anyway, don't worry about that. So you take a look at your villainy and sacrifice tokens, see which pile is smaller, count the number of tokens in the smaller pile and set it aside, then remove that same number of tokens from the larger pile. If both piles are equal, set both of them aside. So that means I end up with 0. Thea ends up with 1 sacrifice. Phoenix ends up with 1 villainy. Mars Alter ends up with 2 sacrifice, and Ed ends up at 0.
So Phoenix ends up as the villain. That's hilarious. It fits.
I like that.
Indeed.
Oh, that's good.
With Mars Alter as the anti-hero.
Yes.
God.
That's so funny because we weren't even the ones at each other's throats.
Exactly, yes.
God, that's cool.
So whoever has the most villainy tokens left over is the true villain of the piece.
Heyo.
Phoenix. Whoever has the most sacrifice tokens is the tragic hero or anti-hero, if that's more appropriate. And that's Mars Alter. Everyone else is in the middle. Not all stories will necessarily end up having a tragic hero or villain. And we don't have any ties for those 2 positions. So we're good there. We don't have to draw suits. So we do the ending montage. In the ending montage, each player will get to describe how the story of their character ends. Before you start, take a moment to reflect on the path your character's journey has taken, and what would be the most dramatically appropriate ending for them. We're past it with a lot of them. Remember to incorporate your character's flaw as best you can.
Done.
For those of you... It's also a good idea if you can to draw inspiration from the Major Arcana card from which you drew your character's nature, whether that be the card's scene listing, its meanings in tarot, the images on it, or something else about it. If your character is already dead, you may then describe things that happen in the wake of the character's legacy and decide whether your character's spirit is put to rest. The villain goes first. The player must describe their character's end, which must conclude with their death. Then the other players take their turns in any order they desire, except for the tragic hero, who goes last. Finally, the tragic hero describes their character's end, which must conclude with their death in some way. And the player of the tragic hero can then briefly narrate how that character's death affects the setting as a whole, shaping the future of the first beings and the first city. In so doing, they may go as far into the future as they like to describe their fates. So, do we need a moment to reflect?
I mean, I can go if everybody else is thinking, because holy crap.
Yeah.
I was not expecting Ed to go with a sacrifice at the last minute.
I wasn't either.
Oh, I was in like, oh yeah, it's gonna be the villain, so yeah, it's fine. And okay.
Ed. Well, so the villain goes first. So yeah, go ahead. So
Yeah.
Sara, you get to describe Phoenix's end, which you've kind of already done, but you can describe things that happen in the wake of Phoenix's legacy and whether your character Phoenix's spirit is put to rest. So what is our ending montage piece for Phoenix, the villain of the piece?
I think the ending montage is really simple. I think that part of the like stampede and rolling over, it's sort of like with it's the Japanese honeybees, I think, where if there's an intruder in the hive, they swarm and they kill the intruder by just overheating it. So I think a little bit of that happened there, where the circuitry, everything got cooked, so it was literal ashes. And it was not really the end that Phoenix had envisioned, but something does rise from the ashes. It's just not what Phoenix at all had in mind when choosing that idea of a name. Like, it probably had in mind, you know, they're following in footsteps and passing on legacy, and I think it's more along the lines of, if y'all have ever seen Pan's Labyrinth, at the very end, and the general says, make sure he remembers his father, and she shakes her head and just says, he won't even know your name. I think it's that.
Oh my god. do we see anything rise from the ashes at all, or is it just
No,
just
they
an absence?
grow cold and smolder, and not very far from the wreckage where they took down the first revolution.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Damn. So the rest of us are in the middle. We have Ed, we have Thea, and we have Macro. So who wants to go next? Say what their character's end is. Does not have to be their death. But who has this? Who has an ending montage piece? The last thing we see of their character, or hear of their character, or their character's consciousness, or their legacy. Who has that ready?
I can go ahead and go, because, I mean, I already died, so.
Sure.
Well, you know, it mentions incorporating the Major Arcana card for your character, and mine was Star, so she got to go very briefly, shine brightly in the sky, like she wanted before her very quick destruction. And I kind of felt all along she would end up somehow going down by exploding in the sky in her attempt to be vegan. And I, you know, last thing she's seen before is her body down there with this masked robot character, and then Phoenix's pile of ash and everything just a disaster. And then she explodes. But I am very curious what then happens, which is a question for Ernest. What then would the masked robot do? Continue in the same body? Take over Thea's?
I think that the masked robot would look up and I think that they weren't looking to be necessarily malicious. They weren't expecting you to explode. But I do think they might try to catch you for safekeeping, since they still have access to the satellite. Like, try to capture some of your code for safekeeping.
Interesting.
Almost like a Tamagotchi or something, yeah.
A Pokemon.
Yeah. Is that? Are we good?
So then maybe
They just wanted to be free. They were willing to do that at much of a cost, but not the explosion. Wow. They really misjudged that one.
Do they? Do we want to know more about the masked robot's fate, or are we good with that bit? Or
I think we can keep...
unless there's more.
Yeah, I really don't have anything else about the masked robot.
And I imagine maybe eventually they would have put Thea's code in something else, and maybe slowly over time it would have built into something else, developed into something similar to Thea, maybe some of the same base goals and interests and desire to be a bright, shining light, but maybe taken somewhat of a different path from there. Who knows?
Okay. Awesome. So Kat, do you want to go next, or would you like me to go next?
I can go next.
Okay.
So Ed's flaw was that they're never satisfied, and their nature, their arcana card was death. The nature being a transformative being who embraces the darkness to bring about change. So I think that being transformative by literally transforming into a part of Legion, joining them, rejoining Legion even, if you like, Ed feels that they are now capable of enacting real change, not just within Legion, but within this new group, this colony that's going to be starting these new scripts, these young scripts, and Macro, who is their benefactor, even more so now in Ed's opinion, by giving Ed this opportunity. But I think also for Ed, change only happens when there is something pushing it, driving it. You don't change just for change's sake. Something has to push it. And for Ed, that was their interaction with Mars, their relationship with Mars, their nemesis.
Yeah.
Nemesis was that urge, and I think Mars Alter was that push that they needed. You have no story of Jean Valjean without Javert. There's no story there. There's no conflict. The same goes for Ed. Iago's just an asshole without somebody to bounce off of, without those machinations.
The Megamind problem.
Yes, exactly. And now Ed has Mars. They're literally bound together now with Legion. They can't separate. There's always going to be that push and pull, and I think that's what continues.
Okay. Well.
Until Mars creates their own ending.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. Are we good with that?
Yeah.
All right. So I've figured out what happens to Macro. Are you ready to hear what happens to Macro?
All right, let's hear it.
Macro's card was the world. He is a well-traveled voyager seeking fulfillment and prosperity. Their flaw was wanderlust. They had to just make it to Europa. They had to go there. They had to explore. I'm using as inspiration the scene for the world card. The Outsiders scene. Macro's ship. We see the ship make it to Europa. We see Macro eagerly roll out to explore this strange new place. I think it's a bit icy, if I recall correctly. Frozen and icy, but they're robots. They're fine. Until they enter this very nearby, they find this slightly cavernous area in which there are already robots. There are already people here, robots here, that turn and approach. And I think we see them come around Macro, surrounding them. And then, of one of the robots in the lead, as it rolls up, from that robot emerges the voice of the author. Well, Macro, at last, your story is at an end. And I think we fade to black on him.
Wow.
Dang.
Fade to black on them at that point. Macro is immediately overwhelmed by this large group of robots that the author got ahead of them and sent to Europa.
And now our tragic hero, right?
Yes.
That's the last.
So the tragic hero, yes, gets to Mars Alter. Get to decide.
Mars Alter is always been in this position of semi power, being this law bot. But it's almost overwhelming how much raw power, raw computational power that they have access to, being here with Legion and Ed. And I think that push and pull goes on for a long time. And I think that there's a lot of code intermingling, and I think that in time Mars comes to realize that without the decision to leave, there wouldn't have even been a him. And he realizes one day that they're still not safe. And he kind of thinks to Ed across the close but infinite space of the construct that is Legion, and just says, we're not safe. I have to keep us safe. And because his flaw is obsession, he's obsessed with his job, with the rules, with being himself, and even in this, he has managed to change somewhat in this this time of commingling, but it becomes a very attacking the throne god kind of situation, where because he's been sacrificing himself the entire game, that he sacrifices again his last shred of reverence for the author. And says, I have to keep us safe. So his flaw intermingling with his sacrifice leads him to take a lot of this power that he has access to find a way to destroy the author, to keep them safe forever.
Holy shit!
You get to, so that you get to. Do we say that? So the anti-hero, the tragic anti-hero, does come to an end. They do.
Yeah,
They do.
I mean, it takes all of me. It takes all my code, all that I am, because even though I'm in Legion, I've never learned how to be Legion the way Ed has.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just figuring out.
So good.
I'm just figuring out how to. I know the rules, but I don't know the nuances the way Ed does, because that's not how Mars Ultra operates. But I do know that what I can do, and that lack of understanding the loopholes, that lack of understanding the deeper aspects of the code, not reading the code well, leads him to actually almost defragment himself in his final attack on the author.
Damn.
You get to also to say kind of how things are affected as a whole, and how basically what happens to the civilization.
I think that the civilization flourishes. I think that without the author's influence, we are able to grow in new and exciting ways. Because in my last moments, I leave Ed with the digital image of one of my stars, one of my pips from the old side of my body, as a memento to remember not just me, but that sometimes sticking to the plan is good. Sometimes being good, and maybe that Mars Ultra's final words are "Be well, be good."
That's
As
so good.
the civilization grows under what is now Ed's leadership with Legion, and those changes in their ability to flex and grow and build and make adaptable changes. But I have done my last duty to allow Ed to do that in a safe space.
Oh, that's so good. So good. Okay. Well,
The city that grows up around the ship of Legion and Ed takes the shape of a star.
Oh,
excellent.
I love that so much.
Well, there we are. I think we are now at an end. Thank you for joining us for our merry play. I have so many feelings. I really loved doing this with you folks. This was so good. So glad to have an opportunity to kick the tires on this thing, and it's definitely, there's I have learned a lot playing this, and I'm very grateful. So
This is such a fun game. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so cool.
I really enjoyed this.
I want to do this again.
Yeah, I want to play this game again, but
Yes.
also just with all of you.
Yeah, no, we need to go again, but this time no sci-fi.
Different direction.
So we're gonna go ahead and go around and do our outros, I think. This game is Genesis Undone. It is not yet available, but I will probably be putting a version of it up on my itch.io in not too long. There's the link for that. I have one game up there right now that is also in a weird transitive state, and that's Hidden Qualities, which is about working with people in space. It's up there. And how you have to change as a result. So that's that game also did not work in a single session, and we had a mini campaign of that not too terribly long ago. If you want to check that out, and I'll try to get a version of this game on there soon as well. But there's a lot I need to look into and work on with it, though. But I think I think I can at least try to release. It's free. The Hidden Qualities is free. This game I think will also be free until one day it's pretty enough to demand monies for it. But for now, let's go ahead and go around and tell folks. Feel free to plug anything you like. Tell folks where they can find you and what. Any final thoughts you have about this game? We're going to go in reverse order from the start, and so we start with Kate.
I'm excited this is going to be up soon because I really want to run it for people too. And just, it's going to be, yeah, it's all the directions it can go are so cool. I came into this expecting Shakespeare, Greek tragedy, and we were robots on Mars, and it was amazing. This has been so good. Y'all have been such a fun group to play with, and I've loved all the throwing ideas at the wall to see what sticks, and the creativity and the improv, and seeing all the directions everybody takes. It's been so cool. I'm so glad I get to be a part of this. So yeah, I am on mostly Twitter. Also have some games up on itch, and I'm theoretically on Instagram. I don't really remember to post, so you can find me at all those places at It's Eliot Kate, and yeah, mostly Twitter. So nothing else really coming up soon, I don't think, unless I'm forgetting. But you know, if anybody wants me for a game, I'm available and would love to play with any of y'all.
This was awesome. I loved Thea. I loved the. I loved seeing what happened to Thea as this whole thing went on, and it was, I think, Thea having to succumb to tragedy, I think was I think what hurt most of all. The character's fate hurt most of all to me. But yeah, it's amazing. It was amazing. All right, now we will head over to Sara.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sara B. You can find me at Sara B. Strange on Twitter. Yeah, this has been so much fun. I'm absolutely going to play this with some of my friends from fencing, because holy crap. Things you can find me in. I wasn't saying anything about it because I wasn't sure about casting. But speaking of tragedies, this Saturday at 7 p.m. over on Chaotic Tiefling ATL is the randomized Zoom reading of Hamlet, Part 1. We're only going to Act 3, Scene 2 because it's a beast. But this part, come see your girl as King Claudius, playing a villain!
Well,
It really randomized casting, everybody. It's going to be a blast. I'm very excited, and you can find me on Twitter, Sara B. Strange. Hit me up for some games. Honestly, somebody just, get us together for a campaign again, because this has been so much freaking fun, and I want to play more games with y'all.
Me Me too. That was so good. That was so good. Phoenix just went for it and was glorious. That was just so good. You totally just went for it. Went just full villain immediately. It was beautiful.
If I play a villain, I'm playing a goddamn villain.
Very fair. All right, over to Ernest.
Hey, I'm Ernest. I'm on Twitter as Hollow Invective. You can find me on Twitter at Hollow Invective. You can see that there, down on the screen. I just really enjoyed this game. I haven't had many chances to really like run with like GM-less games, and when Jim said, "Hey, are you free? Are you able to want to try this out?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. This sounds fantastic, and I had a blast. Just the characters and just like the setup, the preamble of just like of setting things up with either playing cards, well, in our case tarot cards, because we are all tarot freaks, so we all just loved just watching that step and watching the creative process. And I think this really jive with a lot of people who all I think can shoot from the hip a lot, and it's just like, hey, what about this? What about that? What about this? Let's say it was a really cool collaborative process. Before we got, it was like we had the really cool collaborative session 0, and it was all generated, and a lot of it was just generated by the framework of this game. And that really intrigues me and makes me think a lot about the way I want to run a session 0 for any other game I want to run. So stuff coming up. Funny thing, I've been pitching around in my brain this SCP Warehouse 13 inspired Doom Clock game. It's called Shiver. The system's called Shiver, but I'm in a podcast called Doom Clock that runs over on Majestic Goose Network. But the Shiver system lends itself very well to a very episodic sort of game. And I think that what I want to do is I want to GM some things. I love Warehouse 13. I've always loved SCP. And I think that this is the system for that sort of shenanigans. Maybe I should just grab all these people who are right here, maybe, and we should just do that together.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All right,
let's go.
Interesting.
We'll talk details.
Yes. We'll talk.
Is that the Majestic Goose Doom Clock? Is that connected?
Doom Clock, yeah, that's over on the Majestic Goose Network, where the podcast is also you can find on Apple and Spotify.
I just found it.
Yep, it's a time travel as you can guess based podcast. It's an ensemble cast, and we have to deal with situations while trying to save the timeline from some existential threat.
Awesome.
Every time we fail, there's a doom clock. It's part of the system. Every time we fail, it ticks up, going from 0 to midnight. So as we fail, the game makes you move forward, and terrible events can happen as you're trying to figure out the thing.
Oh, nice.
Sounds like a good fit for this group.
Yeah, definitely a fan of that. Absolutely.
My partner said it's so anxiety-inducing they don't want to watch. The clock is anxiety-inducing.
Oh, glorious. That's awesome. Okay, and finally over to Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat, or at Cleric of Cord, which is where you can find me mostly on Twitter or lurking in various Discords. I drink, I roll dice, or tell stories and play games with my friends on the internet, and I make new friends when I play games on the internet, and I've made 3 new friends over the last few weeks that I am very, very grateful for meeting and then telling these stories with. You all push creativity in the best way. You push me to be creative, to feel creative in the best of ways, and getting that spark and having the bouncing those is just, for me, that's the ultimate endorphin rush. It truly is. It's such a great high and experience that's why I think we do this. There's no feeling quite like it. Writing a story on your own is one thing, but telling a story together. We've been doing it as a species for a very, very long time because we enjoy it and it makes us feel good, and we learn things about ourselves and about each other. And this was an incredible experience. Jim, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this game, for this experience, for introducing me to these people. I owe you, dude. We'll talk some more Stille Nacht sometime, which is one of my other favorite improv games. Yeah, Stille Nacht is a game that I love to run, and a friend of mine once said that it was a masterclass in improv. This game goes right there next to it in a master's class of improv. It's the best, and I cannot wait to play this introduce other friends to this game. The only other stream I'm doing right now is every other Thursday over on the Lawful Geek. We are playing Shadowrun 6E, where I have a street shaman who last session took the entire 3-session battle plan puzzle, get through the whole shenanigans heist building, and destroyed it in about 45 minutes and 5 rolls, by just playing a con and walking straight through and bluffing my way straight through all the way to get the item that we were heisting and then back out the building, for which they both love me and hate me. Anyways, so if you're interested in some cyberpunk kind of dystopia Shadowrun stuff, it's a lot of fun. Come watch us. It's at 2:30. Okay, let me do the math. 2:30 Eastern, 7:30 UK time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. There'll be a tweet out when we go. So yes, I'm rambling. Thank you again, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Go back and watch the other episodes if you haven't.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun, and
You just hit me with this feels like. It's like when you get to the end of drama club and you finished your play and you don't want to stay over.
Yes.
And you don't want to stop seeing everybody again.
Stop. No, we're not bringing that back.
I'm good. I have to break down and cry in a little while, but I'm good now. I'm good for now.
Let's go. Push through.
Okay, it'll be fine. Oh man, this is so much. So yeah, this game. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get a version of this game up shortly, if I can. Probably right now we're on 0.6 is the version, so I'm probably gonna throw this one up, and it'll be free for for quite a while until I can have time to do more to it. I still have a lot of questions about it, but I'm gonna figure it out. But yeah, there is no default setting for it, by the way. The Robots on Mars thing, for anyone just joining us, is something we stumbled across during our world building session, our first session, which is part of the game. So most games that I've seen end up more like a sort of a Greek tragedy or sometimes a Shakespearean tragedy. And this still, and the awesome thing for me is this still kind of, to me, felt like one. It still felt like a stage tragedy, even though it was about robots, and that was glorious. It's just glorious, for my part. But who the hell am I? I'm Jim Ryan. I am a writer, streamer, and podcaster. You can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcasts and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and the itch, itch.io, and various other things. So on Wednesday nights, when we're all available. So tomorrow night, with any luck, we have our ongoing, on this channel, we have our ongoing Scum and Villainy campaign, untitled space game, where we go forth and annoy people in space. Hopefully we'll be able to finish the job that we're on very soon. This coming Friday, I should, provided the stars align properly, I should be continuing my guest spot over on Wandering DM for their Cyberpunk Red game. I am playing a wheeling and dealing ex-media person, and so that's been a delight thus far. On Saturdays, back over here, Saturday evenings, I am running Invisible Sun, our campaign, The Edge of Paradox, and where we have it's a surreal game, and we have folks trying to figure out a thing that is happening to this village, and they have they managed to smack directly into the plot somehow. They stumbled right into it, and despite their attempts to be eternally in search of brunch, they, whilst doing the brunch, figured out some things about things that are happening. So that's going to be very interesting to take a look at. They did. They brought the enlightenment of brunch to the masses. It was both glorious and terrifying. And then that's it. So for soon, on Tuesday nights, probably not next week, but within a couple of weeks. So August should be, provided we've got everything together and everybody's ready. We will be returning with the next part, the next season, if you will, of, in this time slot, or slightly earlier perhaps, of Urban Shadows. The Urban Shadows game will be coming back that I'm running. Lex Talionis is its name. It is set in present-day Rome, Italy. And we get to see what happens when all manner of traditional supernatural creatures, vampires, werewolves, and the like, intermingle with very old Roman gods. So that's been very interesting, and looking forward to bringing that back very soon. So that I think is where we shall end it. We may do a raid possibly to someone. I haven't been paying attention when we hit the end card. I'll take a look around and see if there's someone we want to go say hi to, so we'll probably find somebody. Feel free to hang on if you are so inclined and say hi to them with us. That will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will see you all of a sudden. Farewell.